Hi viewers, I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel. Today, this is Discovery Africa TV. So guys, in today's video, I'm actually going to start in by asking some few questions from you guys, and I will implore you to please just drop your answers to each of the questions and the way you feel about the video. And don't forget to watch this video to the end, subscribe if you are yet to subscribe. So let's move straight to the video and let's not waste too much of your time. So the question is just very simple, and like I said, drop your answers at the comment section of the video. Now, we all know that Nigeria, a number of us, when we wake up in the morning, we have several beliefs and we have several desires as to how a nation should be. And let me ask the question, when in Nigeria will our little ones or younger generation have the belief in their future and have the belief that their future is safe here in Nigeria? When in Nigeria we're going to be enjoying the dividends of democracy? Or when in Nigeria we're going to be enjoying what it takes to be governed by good leaders? And if I were to further ask these questions, when are we as Nigerians we start having the hope of fulfillment in our country? Now let me tell you, the fact that we are Nigerians does not mean that we are bad people or our nation is bad, but it's just the set of leaders we have and the way our economy and our resources is being managed by our leaders. And we can actually track down this particular question I'm asking to the kind of leaders we have and the kind of leaders we vote into power. And how can we have credible leaders if the process that brought them to power is actually full of corruption? And how can we retrace our step back? So earlier this year, February to be precise, 2024, we saw some Nigerians that actually took to their streets and was laying several courses on Inec chairman in person of Professor Yakubu. Now, a number of people actually supported the action, while a number of people do not support the action. And the reasons why Nigerians, angry Nigerians for that matter, do that thing is because they were very angry with the Inec chairman for declaring the Inec result in favor of Bola, Ahmed, Tinubu. A number of people believe that it does not deserve to be president and does not have what it takes to be president. Now, a number of you may even have a number of people you want as president, either Kwankwaso or Peter Obi, or even Atiku of PDP. You are free to hold on to your own opinion on whoever should win the election. And even in respect to this, I actually did a video here some time ago where I actually connected to what former president of this country, in person of Olusegun Obasanjo, where he said categorically that Inec chairman should be sacked. A number of Nigerians is happy about this because they believe this man truly should be sacked and is responsible for all the hardship Nigerians is actually facing. Two states in this country actually did the election of recent, Edo State and Ondo State, just a couple of weeks ago. And a number of manipulations and reactions has actually been coming out in respect to all of what happened in that state and why INEC need to retrace their step. So these and many more is what we are going to be engaging into this video. And please don't forget, Nigeria is a great nation. We Nigerians, we are blessed people and we are great people. We have a number of Nigerians doing great out there in sport, in music, in entertainment, in theater, in art. Just name it, in business, you understand? You have a number of them that I can't even mention because they are full out there doing exploit as Nigerians. So because you have black skin does not mean we should just criticize ourselves. What I know is that Nigerians is blessed and Nigeria as a country is blessed. I'll leave you to the rest of the video. Please, as you're watching, subscribe. This is Discovery Africa TV.
I'm a little taken aback when you call this toxic. Me, I just call this real open season play. People are just having fun. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing toxic about it because let's look at the substance of the matter. Obasanjo just said what is true. Can you pick out a lie in what Obasanjo said? Things are not going right. There's nothing Obasanjo said that IMF has not said that is happening as we speak today in Nigeria. In fact, if you get Obasanjo's speech, there's not going to be too much difference from the IMF playbook or any foreign media. As regards our elections, yes, our elections are faulty, which we all know about. Even Obasanjo himself conducted faulty elections, which were deemed to be fraudulent. So, Bayo Onanuga responding to that one is 1-1 as far as I'm concerned. There's nothing that they said. The state of the economy is backward and everything. And you say Obasanjo is going to say this at the foreign forum. Everybody in the world knows what goes on in Nigeria. Wasn't it an Austrian newspaper, as President Tinubu won, that carried a story about a baron winning an election in Nigeria? I mean, so everything is in public glare. In moving forward, can't this government decide to work on those things that he has highlighted rather than abusing him? Because these things are the things we should work on. Two erroneous decisions, removing subsidies and floating in naira at the same time. You can see where it's put us. Is there nothing that can be done about it? Because even the IMF has said these decisions are killing Nigerians. That's just it. So, me, I think it's 1-1 as far as I'm concerned, though. Maybe because me, I like it, like they say in local parlance, wawulens. Wawulens. Chief.
My brother, I must tell you that as appears from your comment, this is a very serious matter. A matter in which thousands, if not millions of Nigerians, if they are not dying, they are at the point of death. So we shouldn't be joking with it. Either from Obasanjo's comment or the reply from the presidency. We have given them, the authority to run the affairs of this country with a view to taking care of us. And Obasanjo rightly pointed out, nobody believes that anything is going so beautiful in this country. And like I said, I had already said, and you mentioned it in your comment, nobody. If Onanuga had replied Obasanjo item by item, comparatively speaking, respect to the time he was president, it would have made some common sense and intellectual understanding. But having to go personal, goes away from the topic at discussion. That's why I said it was a little toxic. And in fact, bordering on cancer, political cancer. And once you start doing that, it's a distraction. You don't want people to look into the substances of what it is.
With due respect, let me play devil's advocate.
Unfortunately, just a sec.
Okay. Onanuga acknowledged economic growth in the time of Obasanjo. In all of this tirade you said Onanuga wrote, he acknowledged his economic successes in the time of Obasanjo. He just talked about the other areas. He acknowledged economic successes. So give it to the man. Playing devil's advocate here.
Can I make it?
Go ahead, sir.
Just a second. When I was in secondary school, that was probably before you were born. My principal used to say, if you're transferring from one college to another secondary school, and you're being given a testimonial, they will say, a brilliant student, this, a good sportsman. But once you see everything written above is gone wrong. That means there's something strategically wrong about your person. So looking at Onanuga, he has said he ran a good economy, he did it, but he summarized it, that he was a failure.
Well, Chief.
That's the summary he gave.
Chief.
That Obasanjo was a failure.
Chief,
yes? Something
gives me the impression that you are playing a balancing act by using the expression toxic. You were saying, Onanuga should not have spoken this way, Obasanjo too should not have spoken this way. Have you read that presentation on leadership and state capture by President Obasanjo? That's one question, because it was published by Premium Times, the full text. Now,
yes.
What
it's right
part?
It's in my phone.
Okay, what part? Well, it's in your phone. Whether you have read it is another question. What is it that Obasanjo said
yes, I read all of it.
In that statement that is toxic? Because he talks about leadership crisis, he talks about corruption, he talks about institutional reform for Inec, he talks about addressing electoral violence. I don't think there was anything original that other Nigerians have not talked about. So why do you think it's toxic?
You forgot to mention the aspect that he said that this government is leading Nigeria into a failed state. That's the summary of what he said.
People have been talking about Nigeria a failing state for over 10 years. No, that's not a new intellectual category.
Why don't you allow me to make a comment? If I say that you are stupid, depending on the tone I use in saying that, you might not be annoyed. Somebody else will tell you, you are very stupid, and you feel angry. If somebody else has said what Obasanjo said to the Tinubu, and many have been saying it, it was irrelevant to them. But for a former head of state, that they had issues, that was why I made the reference to when he was president and this president was governor of Lagos State, there was a carryover crisis of confidence. And you don't forget that. That is what I see playing out. It may be Obasanjo feels that the young man is doing well, and he wants to tell Nigeria that he's not doing well. That is his opinion. He's not going to convince me or yourself or somebody else the way to judge Tinubu's government. Those who had in the past judged how Obasanjo performed. It's not going to change anything. But what I'm saying that for comments like that coming at this point in time and the subsequent reply from the presidency, we don't need them. That's why I'm being fair-minded in my commentary. The Nigerians are dying. And supporting Onanuga or supporting Obasanjo doesn't help the issue. We should be able to, if we have suggestions how this country can do better, let the person say it out. Not when we have all died and you come telling us the armchair theoretics, this, if you had done this. Why didn't you tell us to do it? If you love this country, if you're patriotic, tell us how to do it better. People are dying in this country. People are dying. In every village, in every town, people are dying. And this rhetoric is not what we require at this point in time. That is summary of what I'm saying, honestly.
And I've read a lot of commentaries of people, accusing the former president, of various kind of sins. I have criticized him as well in the past. But on this one, I want people to look at the content and not the person, or as, the common thing, to look at the message, not the messenger. I think we need to ask ourselves if what he's saying makes sense or not. I think it makes sense. And I think it is possible to envision a new kind of Inec that is very different from this one. And we can talk about that.
Would you agree with him when he says that the chairman of Inec, Mahmoud Yakubu, should be sacked?
Well, I mean, I do not like to personalize issue, but I do think that if somebody is heading a commission, and the commission, if it's doing a process, and every time that commission acts, people end up in court, they don't agree with it, I think the mandate of such leadership should be looked at, yes. It is safe to say so. I do my best not to personalize issue, but that's a direct question you asked me. And I think, yes, if he's not sacked, at least he should be probed. Somebody should sit down and ask him a question to say, dear Professor Mahmoud, how's this thing going? Or as we say in Lagos, how far? I mean, let it be clear. I agree, or rather I'm pleased to see that President Obasanjo agrees with me that INEC needs to be overhauled. I think there are three sides to that. Number one is that if you give a high-profile lecture like that, I mean, one will expect something tangible to come out of it. You cannot go and give a Chinua Achebe lecture, and just give platitudes. One expects, something very cogent, even controversial. To that extent, I think it's a fantastic speech that he has going to give. Should we all agree with his speech? I think not. It is very legitimate, possible and legitimate, to disagree with any speech, including Chief Obasanjo's speech. But when we disagree, there are three kind of, disagreements. If you are a citizen, you should be looking for what is not true in what he says. If you are perhaps an analyst or a student of literature or political communication, you should be looking at the structure and the content and the possible effect of the speech. If you are in government and he has given a speech against you, you'll be trying to prove him wrong. It's not a question of argument. If the man says you have a failed or failing state, you should do things to prove that he's not a failed or failing state. So, we need to go past this, anybody just waking up and saying whatever they like. By the way, OBJ is not anybody, in terms of his political experience, in terms of education, and in terms of gravitas in the world. So he can speak, more than most people. So when he speaks, I think most of us, the rest of the world, should just study it and see where they can make amends, not go and insult him or just push back. That's a bit shallow and lazy way of doing things. But in terms of, yes, does he have consequences, you ask? Yes, I think it does. We're talking about it and people are thinking about it. And I think those who care about the country and hold their job with seriousness will try to take serious what he says. By the way, when he talks, those who matter in Nigeria listen, and I think outside Nigeria a lot of people listen as well. So it does matter what is said in this kind of conversations. The two crucial elements in what you've just said. Number one, my bigger concern is that it is widely accepted. That's a very terrible thing, and you're not making it up. I say this because I speak to people for conversation and for research. And there's a general acceptance, there's a tendency to actually believe that our judiciary is corrupt. By the way, just a few hours ago, a few days ago, a report came out showing that our judiciary is very corrupt. That's a very dangerous place to be. The way to get out of it is two things. One, for the members of the bench themselves, the leaders, not just the members, the leaders of the bench in particular, to come out and say, this is unacceptable. We're going to clean up the substance and we're going to clean up the image. If it is not true that the judiciary is corrupt, then the leaders of the judiciary needs to look at whatever is making people think they're corrupt and deal with it. If it is true that the judiciary is corrupt, then they need to clean up. And they need to show people that we have decided not to be seen as corrupt. And these are the steps we're taking against it. Part of the step will be welfare of the judiciary. If they're so poor that they're tempted to take bribe, we better pay them more and give them a better life. But if beyond their poverty, they're just greedy or corrupt, then we need to clean them up and punish a few of them so that the rest can see that it is not good to be corrupt. By the way, it is important for us to remember, all of us as citizens, to know that a corrupt judiciary is one of the index of a failed state, because if you cannot trust those who are charged and paid to arbitrate conflict, then the essence of the cohesion, the essence of being together is failed. That is a very bad place to be. Well, I think I do not like, self-centered reactions. I think there's a part of me that's very parliamentarian. I think government should speak with acts, not with argument, not with counter insults, propaganda, or proving people wrong. If I had my way, if I was president of Nigeria, I was near the president of Nigeria, the communication of the presidency, and indeed any part of government, will be by facts and figures. Let those running for office campaign, let them do propaganda. A serious government should speak by facts and figures. They should say, we're doing these 200 things to achieve these 500 things. And their communication should be very clear, straightforward like that, so that you can verify it. Once you are in power, you are above everyday dispute. That should be left for people who are ambitious to get into power, or people who are unhappy because they're out of power, or people who pontificate or analyze. Once you're a government, you should govern. Well, I don't think there's anything peculiar about us. The only thing that is peculiar about it is that we allow it to happen. And I want everybody, all the viewers now to look at themselves and to look at the person next to them. Given the chance, people will blame others rather than take accountability. It's a human thing. It's a lazy, shallow way of doing things. I said before, you want to blame the next person. It's never you. That's a human thing. But what we should do when it comes to institutions, the state, the Commonwealth, is that we should not allow personal and individual flaws to prevail. We should allow institutional sense to prevail. And the way to do that is to insist that no, if you hear somebody say, oh, we're resolving the problem of the past, say no, don't do that. The reason why you're here is to resolve the problem of the past. I remember, you're right, this is not a new thing. I remember about 10 years ago or 9 years ago, when the former administration started this, allow me to say this silly thing of blaming the past. I remember saying very clearly, let's stop blaming the past. Because the reason why you're here today is because Nigeria condemned that past. So let it go. Tell us about your solution. I think somehow, starting from the media, if I might say, to institutions, to educational institutions, religious institutions, and in country clubs, we need to change the conversation and force people to take responsibility once they're in power. Nobody forced any governor or any president to apply for office. They went there voluntarily. So we must assume that they know what they're going to meet when they get there. So there's no point feeling sorry for them and say, oh, you don't know what they met there. Well, I might not know what they met there, but it's their duty to know what they're going to meet there. And if they don't know it, tough luck. They should just roll up their sleeves and get on with it, not disturb the rest of us with what they met there.
So guys, I really want to appreciate everybody that watched today's video, and I want to welcome you to my channel again, Discovery Africa TV. So probably you're watching this video on Sunday, or you're watching it on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday or Saturday, whatever day of the week you're watching this video, or probably you're also watching it in the morning or afternoon or evening, I want to welcome you especially to this YouTube channel, Discovery Africa TV. So for a number of Nigerians watching this video from Nigeria, please let's receive the state you're watching us from, either from Anambra or Abia or Ebonyi or Enugu or Kogi or Adamawa, or Plateau State, Ondo State or Edo State, just whatever state in Nigeria you're watching us from. Drop it at the comment section of the video, and the question I ask at the beginning of the video, please don't hesitate to drop your own answers and your view about what I said at the beginning of the video, and even all of what actually played out in this very video. You understand? So let me just say one or two things before I will end the video. Now, I know I had some questions, and I said, when will our little ones and younger generations believe in Nigeria or believe in their future in Nigeria? It has even gotten to the point whereby a number of people no longer believe in Nigeria anymore, and they don't longer believe that they are safe any longer in Nigeria. I'm not even talking about insecurity now. That one is even another subject entirely. I'm talking about your career, your life as a whole, as an individual. That was why I made that statement that a number of people that actually travel out of the country, it's not as if they're happy about it, but they just have to do it. But because they just have to survive, you understand? So you can't blame anybody. For instance, you have an opportunity to be in Canada and you'll be earning maybe $10,000 in a month or $40,000 in a month, depending on what you do or what you engage yourself with, or $7,000 or $4,000. And when you convert that to maybe Nigeria currencies, around maybe 9 million or 8 million, depending on what you earn in dollar, you understand? Although we are still going to engage in several things like tax and several things like that, but you still can't compare it to living in Nigeria. So when they have those kind of opportunities, they will not hesitate to just jabber. Oh, you understand? And even there was a statement that was being made by the same president. I don't know if he's serious with it. He said Nigerians abroad should start coming back, that they're going to make Nigerians safe for them. And the question is, are you joking? It's actually going to be a risky thing for you to actually leave your work in Canada and just come to Nigeria just because of the statement of the Senate president. You understand? And as at the time of doing this video, a number of Nigerians have several questions in their mind that they would love to ask the president in person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if he will actually allow them to ask him those questions. And that is why some people are saying, he hardly grant interviews. That was why he was not even able to go to any debate, presidential debate, whatever. But we discovered at the end of the day, Jacoban himself won the election. And that has actually made several Nigerians thought that, or have the belief or have the opinion that debate in Nigeria, presidential debate, governorship debate, thereabout, does not determine if a candidate will win an election or not. The subject of this video is actually how we appoint leader and how we choose leader. You understand? Leadership in this country is either you have been appointed or you have been elected. And I said, how then can we have good leadership in place? How can we have good, credible leaders in place if the process that brought them to power is full of corruption, manipulation, and several other things that is as a lot of question mark? You understand? So that is just how it is. So when are we going to enjoy the full, what it takes to be governed by good leaders that have our interest in mind, not just their interest, you understand, but the interest of we the citizens. And that is why we see that each of our election, a number of them will come out because they know they need us to win the election. And some people will be given maybe 5,000 naira, 10,000, depending on the capacity of the candidates. And the voters will just be convinced and they will vote for the person just because they know they need them at that time. But at the end of the day, we discover that even after the election is being conducted and the winner is being announced, that will be the end of everything. They will forget all those who voted for them in the run, all those who voted for them in the sun, in the rain, and several other things like that. And I have to believe that all of these things is not what is expected of our leaders. Now, when this man, the former president, said that the Inec chairman should be sacked, President Professor Yakubu, a number of Nigerians are saying that sacking or removing the suspension or the removal of Yakubu as Inec chairman can't even solve this problem, because this problem has actually gone deep into the system. And what am I talking about? Corruption and a number of things like that. And there's no how you want to do election in Nigeria where Inec will not have its place, where judiciary will not have its place. At some point in 2015, Professor Yakubu was actually appointed by the former president Muhammadu Buhari. And some people are coming out with their own point of view in respect to what Bola Tinubu may eventually do ahead of the 2027 presidential election. Now, you could all know that at some point we have several Inec chairman, Atahiru Jega, who actually presided over the 2015 election that brought in Buhari to power, introduced what we called the card reader then. Of course, a number of people said that was what was used to chase away good luck Ebele Jonathan. You understand? Some people are saying Ebele Jonathan was not that wise. If he was wise enough, he should have removed Jega before the 2015 election. And we all know what happened in the 2022 presidential election when the bimodal vote equalization system, BVAS, was being introduced. A number of people were happy because they believe that we've now moved from the manual to electronic, so to make it faster and there won't be any form of manipulation. But we discovered at the end of the day, BVAS or no BVAS, this issue is still the same. There is no change. There is still manipulation. There's still corruption in this system. And the question is, when are we going to get things right in this country if the process that actually takes some leaders to power is full of corruption? I just wanted to drop your comment at the comment section of the video. The belief of every Nigerian is that we have free, fair, and credible elections. And even since 1999, after democracy till now, we've discovered that our election has been having several issues, several issues, to the extent that hardly will there be any election whereby after the election, several reactions will come up of how some manipulations in some state, or some manipulations in some polling unit, or some result was not being uploaded, or some result was falsified, a number of things like that. So guys, that is just how it is. And what is your point of view about what Davido said? Some are in support of him and some are not in support of him. Some are saying Nigeria made Davido, so Davido should be proud of Nigeria. And a number of people are saying Davido is actually speaking the right thing. A number of things is not going well in Nigeria, of which we have to speak out. You understand? So General Olusegun Obasanjo have said his own, and all of what actually played out in that video. You saw all of what was said in that video. All of the people that actually spoke in that video in respect to Inec and what need to be done to get things right in this country. You saw all of what played out. Please just do it to drop your comments and share your thoughts. And also don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, Discovery Africa TV. So guys, once again, let's have the belief that Nigeria is a great nation. And you watching me from Nigeria or people outside of Nigeria, and you are a Nigerian, you have to believe that you are a great person. It's just that we find ourselves in the hands of people that don't know how to manage us or manage our resources. And that is why we are just having all these issues we are having. You understand? All things being equal, God has blessed us. And I don't think we should be passing through all of the challenges at all. So that is the video I have for you today. Before you go, please ensure to drop your own answers to all those questions. And or for what people are saying that with the sack of Inec chairman or the suspension or the removal or whatever solve the problem of grant, drop your answers to and drop your opinion. Thank you so much for watching. God bless Nigeria and God bless Africa. And may the labor of our hero past never be in vain. Thank you guys.